Welcome to Actually Controller, the podcast that is actually Controller, and we are actually in control of everything you are hearing right now. I'm so very sorry. Kind of like I was bringing up earlier, we had already so much attachment in a sentimental way to certain components, but that's not how we did it before, and we were in a constant battle with ourselves. We're trying to rewrite it, we're trying to refresh it, but we're still so attached to certain things, even though we're not saying they were good. Yeah. We're still attached to the way that we did it, and so we leaned on Chris. It's like, all right, where do we go for an outro on the? Do we go heavier? Do we go lighter? Do we go kind of upbeat? Do we, somber? What direction do you feel this going?
And it ended up being like a modern, we just kind of trailed off.
Yeah,
it fits.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, but
as we peel the layers back off.
Didn't we take it from like a minor key and actually threw in a major key?
We go to a major with a weird.
Yeah, because we did a half step jump.
Yeah,
it's like a weird suspend ninth.
So so it's this strange theory talk that you're just a drummer and you.
Either way, though.
Either
way, we may have, opted, cool, we're going to go for a half-step key change and everything like that, but we were only able to attach that after Chris kind of laid down where his thought was going for the groove.
The whole song started off with the bass, and it just kind of builds. Even my drum part from the beginning, I don't really do anything percussively until after the first break, and then I start playing more. Mm-hmm. And so it worked in reverse as we got out of the song. Yep. I was like, why don't we just do it in reverse? We're just peeling away the layers, starting to eliminate some of the sounds we're doing. Even what I'm doing went softer, and just let it go. And I love the fact that Bob's at the end, like
it's time to believe. Yeah, so it's not in the original. It's a little Easter egg. If you have seen us live with this on the last tour, you saw that already, but you only had a handful of opportunities to check this out live. Yep. You're going to have to wait probably until March to actually hear the recording of this.
And if you saw us on our last tour, I hope you're doing good. Thank you.
The next track is Suffocate.
Yeah.
And
so this one was a complete
rewrite, yeah.
Just not even a rewrite, but
not for the bass.
But you went and you dropped everything.
But yeah, and that's what I was going to say. We didn't technically rewrite this in the traditional sense. We decided between him and I that the key it was in didn't pay to the aggression that the riff was trying to actually convey.
Right.
Because we had originally written it in C, drop C, and it was like, it's not that that's too high and it's pretty or anything, but it's still the frustration, the aggression that this song's supposed to actually be conveying. It was not translating at that high of a tune.
And because the history of what Believe was Suffocate, I started off with this one writing it heavily aggressive because this was the point that I knew the finalization of My First Marriage was definitely coming.
Yeah, there was no if and or but about anything at that point.
This was done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I just had the drummer moment. The first note,
yeah.
I recognize the chorus.
So there is a brand new intro, and the reason there's a brand new intro is another Chris moment, actually, because Chris actually was looking at Jeff because the way we have our rehearsal space set up is Jeff and Chris just stare at each other the whole rehearsal.
Anytime I make a mistake, I get a smirk, and he gets the same.
Yep. So. But because of that, if Chris is going to have an aha moment, most often it will first be translated over to Jeff. Be like, wait.
Yes.
And this was no exception. This was one of those, I'm hearing with that tempo and everything like that, there's a chance for an intro and kind of a creepy thing. So hear me out. Your one is not going to be where you think your one's at.
Yeah, we're going to polyrhythm the
Yeah. So we got a whole new intro to this.
I swear I'll get it.
It completely altered the way that Chad was introing the song then. Because the way that the song originally was introed was a long bass intro and everything like that. And that kind of got altered, shortened because of Jeff's key intro, which adds a whole different aggressive, creepy
it does
start to the song, which awesome.
Yeah, very happy with the way it came together.
So first verse was shortened because we modded the intro.
Well, I think we were already talking about shortening the first because the intro was so long and it kind of just droned on.
It did.
And then after it's like, well, what are we going to do? This is really short. Chris is like, no, I like hearing that. I want that.
Yep.
Can we put that at the beginning before that?
Yep. And so, everything got a little bit of a tweak. Originally. Yeah, and then so Jeff started the thing off. Then I completely rewrote all of my riffing over the top of the verse to kind of match, because we went down to a drop A tuning from a drop C. So it got a lot meaner and a lot beefier. So it was like, okay, I need the riff that I'm doing to also kind of play to that tuning and how mean that tuning is. So I rewrote that entire thing. Chorus has stayed the same. Nothing modified on any of the choruses.
No. No, choruses stayed the same.
Obviously, and I want to
other than the key change.
And I want to preface this.
A huge change for me on the keys. So.
This obviously, all drums are completely all different on all of the songs in the original one.
Yes.
So when I say nothing changed, obviously drums are completely different.
Oops.
No, that's a good thing.
Well, also drummer changed. So that's self-explanatory.
The breakdown on the original song, it sucks so bad. It sucks so bad.
Yes.
We were right at that brink of that was the last thing that needed written for the song. And it was, I don't care anymore. This will work.
This was one for me, though, on that breakdown, it was trying not to overcomplicate it.
Yes.
Because part of when you hear breakdowns, you really want to get really heavy.
Yeah.
Sometimes most drummers feel like that's Machine Gun, or we're going to throw in a bunch of crash cymbals.
Right.
And I'm just keeping it real slow.
And that's exactly what this needed, because it's just so big and wide. It's the stomp around the floor type breakdown.
Yeah, it's smashing you in the face now.
And so the original breakdown was just.
So what am I? I'm on like eighth notes, like.
Yeah, because I ended up
90% of the song. I'm straight.
That was all you.
Note.
When you were like, we need to swell out the outro. That was excellent.
Yeah, and the outro was complete.
And it's been known, like in its original form, it was too chuggy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because of just how it was just constant.
Yeah, and it just deliberately stayed in the same chug, and that was the difficulty.
Percussively, throwing in the open hi-hats that I was doing and the syncopation on the kick drum.
Yep.
That was not how. Yeah. And that was one of those Steve's like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah, because there's one of those. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying I don't like that. I'm saying, are you that much of a masochist?
For those of you who speak drum talk, I'm doing duduts on my right leg, and I'm keeping an open 8th note syncopated hi-hat, and I'm doing the 2s and 4s in the snare.
Yeah.
So it's like very. It's not complicated.
It is when you're
tempo
not.
Doesn't get away from us.
Well, I couldn't do it.
It is if you're not prepped coming into it at that moment, because you're not anywhere close to that type of a beat.
Oh, it's a whole shift
leading into. So it is a whole. Okay, shut that part of the brain off. Turn this part on.
My whole section came from like nerdiness, but taking on a very specific of that, because it's like, okay, anybody that's a stupid gamer nerd knows that there's games that take forever, the grind is forever. You literally feel like you're going to lose yourself to the game. You're just like, I'm suffocating trying to play this because I need to.
So that was
where
that's where Jeff's inspiration came from.
So
comparison to Chad's.
If you feel like you're like, because they're trying to describe the mode to me and everything, and I'm like, I've been through that. I know what that's like.
But the one thing, so in context of the earlier statement that I had made of the trying to make sure that what is the pinnacle, what is the hook point, what is the identity of the song for each one of these songs that we absolutely can't lose. Jeff actually does have like kind of, as far as I'm concerned, I think Chad's in the same boat. That part in the chorus where it really revolves around what Jeff is doing in the chorus is that earworm for the wanu wanu wanu.
Oh yeah,
that part alone.
That's what helped me lift the hi-hat.
Yeah, that part alone is such an attachment for everybody instantly to that song. Where as soon as you play that lift with the swell portion on the left right, it's an immediate I know that song type thing. And
Weird.
those are the moments where I'm like, those can't be lost no matter which of the three songs it is. Those are the moments we have to be diligent about paying attention to, be it from bass, guitar, keys, drums, whatever.
Well, this is one of the songs for me that now that we're really getting into the grit of it, I always came in saying I write to guitar and vocals, but this song I wrote to every single component.
Yep.
I started off supporting Chad and,
Yep.
and trying to lift his Discord notes that you were doing.
The dissonant stuff.
And
Yeah.
in the verses, I'm with you, and in that part, I'm with him, and it's just all I'm lifting. I've got Bob's
The
vocals on
ambulance
Suffocate.
sound.
Yep.
'cause
The
that's
ambulance
impactful.
sound. That's what I like to call it. The pew, pew.
And to be honest, going to that more simpler breakdown, I love the impact it actually has.
Yep. Yeah, because I think that was the part that we were beating ourselves up too much in the original writing of, is we were so steadfast that the breakdown had to be something bigger. And it
Yeah.
had to be more
Yeah, we had to go
complicated and
bigger.
everything. And we
Everything
got in our way,
was
and we wrote a complete
overwritten.
piece of trash.
Overwritten.
I really don't play a lot to make it bigger. I'm just
Yeah.
very steady.
Well, and
heavy.
that's where we ended up, just all four of us, well, at least the three of us. I can't really say for Bob, but I know the three of us were in that we need to like almost overcorrect
Yeah.
and go the opposite direction
Less
that we
is
kept
more.
trying to do on the original of the how bare bones
Yeah.
can we actually
Less
go with
is
this.
more.
Yeah.
I
Strip
don't
it
need
all
to
away.
play on like 18 different fret positions.
Yeah.
I could be on one or two of them, and so long as rhythmically I'm doing the
yeah.
right thing,
And
that's
though-
all it needs.
And though the lyrics are pretty much the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the chorus lyrics are the same.
He changed up parts of from what I understand, the delivery into the chorus lines, different like
Yep.
word verbiage and
The verses got a lot of
change.
tweaking.
Yeah.
The choruses were the same. The breakdown's
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
Well, it's the chorus, like vocally, the chorus in that song I really was attached to.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, everything hits so much different now with the amount of years that's gone by since the original writing of this, and having the restructure of it. It's brought a new love and a new light to something that was so
close.
therapeutic but
Yeah.
yet depressing for me.
Yeah, it's so close, but yet so weirdly far away still. So it
But
was
it's
we had
like-
to go back.
It's like I really
original.
No.
no. Oh,
So this song I kind of already touched on
Really
earlier.
tucked this so far back in my brain.
Yeah. Undefeated is the original I kind of already talked about of the I just didn't feel like it ever got it's just due on it.
No,
that was
no.
my real big push of the I feel like this one is the one that needed.
and when you threw this one out to me on the idea of doing this remake EP, I was like, dude, I'm all down for getting Undefeated back out there.
Yeah, because it's just one of those. I'm not saying that the lyrics on it were like the most provocative things we had ever put out, or that it was the best riffs that I had ever put out, but I'm like the chorus grabs when it's properly played live, and the outro I know when it finally is going to get played correctly with the intent that it had always been attached to it. It's gonna be dramatic. It's gonna be the thing that catches everybody's attention. The verses definitely needed some work because the original verses I was trem picking in 16ths the whole time. And not only did it not end up doing anything like for elevation of the song, but man, it hurt.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it was like it kind of turned to mud when everything else
Yeah.
was added in
Yeah.
too.
So I kept the same note positions in the verse, but I completely changed rhythmically how I was approaching it, how chording I did everything instead of in trem picking and all that stuff.
Definitely did a lot of cleanup.
I
Yes.
straight up changed my entire part on this song. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's nothing from the original
Nice.
that I was like, because after he started changing up his parts and showing me where he was going, I'm like, yeah, I don't feel what I played there before. It needs to truly actually.
I'm
be.
pretty sure the bass for the most part is the original bass part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't change, like I said, I didn't
Yeah, you
technically change
you-
any of the notes.
Yeah, you kept
No,
the
it was
note
the
structure. And
strike pattern.
I loved my strike pattern on the chorus.
It was for him. It was the strike pattern.
Yeah, the whole clean breakdown.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was
the,
different, too.
The clean breakdown was in the original, but I completely cleaned up how I approached that.
Then I changed
for
it
different
to
notes
piano
for
there.
like actually elevating it to where it didn't just keep repeating the same 3 notes over and over. There's a movement to it. But the structuring is the exact same as the original song. There is no modification to the original structuring.
It was just a lot of guitar got rewritten, keys got rewritten,
Melodic melodies got readjusted and stuff like that.
New drums got pulled in.
Yep.
Bass stayed pretty much almost true to song, other than like maybe a minor change here or there. Definitely the ending got fixed.
Right.
Yeah. The PTSD setting in, bud?
From that bridge to this, my brain is like...
The PTSD froze that whole part.
This song, I had a lot of it in my head, but I could not get it down. And the red light kicked on, and I was like, "This is it." And I watched it.
You just went.
So you're gonna have to.
Haven't played that song since.
You're gonna have to.
No,
You're gonna have to get a cut.
I think we tried it once when we were debating of the 3 songs here, what ones we possibly wanted to put into the tour set list.
Diverse for me at my skills.
Yeah, well, and that's again kind of like why I was bringing that up earlier. It's its own thing in the scope of the Contrøller catalog. There's not a lot of stuff that we've done that has similarities, in my opinion, to that. A lot of the components of that track. We've never done any of those tricks.
Now,
but
the rewrite. I'm dubbing it the rewrite EP. Okay,
we do have a title, by the way.
Okay, this is next year though that we're going to be pushing it. So if you're catching us next year, and we're doing the tour thing, which we'll let you know what that all entails later.
Title TBA.
Yeah.
We will let you know the details of the.
But
tour
no, because it's already determined. It's just not announced.
Yeah, it's just not announced.
To be announced.
Like you would be breaking your NDA. You would be breaking your NDA to announce it
so
or talk about it.
I will say, I will preview everybody the title of next year's EP.
I know there's
Ashes.
a band that goes by TBA.
From Ashes.
Yeah. So
have you ever heard of them?
I think I inspired them to create the name.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
TBH.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the title of next year's EP, this rewrite EP, is From Ashes.
From Ashes.
We felt
I really love the idea because we had Watch It Burn, and we were pulling the songs from Watch It Burn. So I was like, dude, I really want this to be something to represent coming from the ashes.
Yeah,
but we also didn't want it to be the generic Phoenix type thing where everybody uses Phoenix.
And I was like, so I proposed. I was like, can we call this From Ashes?
Yep. And it made complete sense as far as my the way I was viewing the whole thing and the whole process too. So
I was just all like, man, this is like that one time when that one guy tried to sit in one dude's chair and then got kicked out. I don't know.
So not my chair, not my problem.
Not my chair, not my problem.
I will say that something to give as a little caveat that happened well before we even actually started working on this. There was actually a little bit of a disagreement, at least amongst the 4 of us. I don't think Chris really had a care one way or another on it, and I might be wrong in my memory of
bringing
this.
Bringing this back up again, are we, buddy? Are we?
Shut up. But if we wanted to actually exert the energy towards rewriting songs, or if we wanted to only work on just completely new original stuff, and it was one of those...
That was the contending point.
Most of these ideas were kind of lit before I joined.
Yeah.
You guys had... I mean, I probably could have derailed some of it if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, I'm joining the band. What do you guys want to do?
Right.
What do you want to do now?
Yeah.
What do you want to do now?
Next.
And next, and let's go, and let's
So
go.
I was down. I was game for whatever.
But yeah, it was...
and it was something that we could do, like, kind of new writing with you without it being completely new writing, because there was source material.
A year and a half.
Yeah, we're coming up on 2 years.
There's been an evolution with us. Originally, obviously, part of the audition was, here's a song, we've already got drums, do not mimic those.
Yes.
Yeah, make something.
How do you feel this should go? And that's clarity.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then we had the three
From Ashes songs.
three
From
rewrites.
Ashes.
Yep.
And I lost count on how many we wrote.
I don't, and that's the thing. I think because we got into clarity obviously right away. That was kind of the first, like, let's get that back out. So that way we could finally get that song released. We could technically have the first single for the Find Yourself
Announcing
EP.
the new drummer, here's
Yep.
an upcoming.
And so we wanted that to be we need to get that done. We need to get that out. But I wanted us to. I want to say that we intended to actually immediately shift into let's get these rewrites going, since 4 of us are already kind of on the same page.
We figured
we had a few jam moments. I think that's where the beginning that what's the last song we talked about?
Suffocate.
Yeah, that's where it came from. There was a jam moment that led to that. There was a jam moment that led to the intro and outro of the song.
I really wanted to say, a way to get the band moving forward in any direction. I was like, we already have the basis of what we need for these 3 songs, and he can come in and just rewrite the drums on them.
Yeah, that way the rest of us aren't lost with the wait, what were you doing?
Yeah.
Moment. So we were at least somewhat on the same page.
To be fair, the guy that was standing in the way was me, because I was all like, I don't feel like we should be paying attention, or if you will, I use the word wasting our time on old stuff.
Well, I think you also acknowledging...
I didn't want him to have to fulfill shoes that had already been filled by somebody else, and that was
the
my
fact that basically
headspace.
you guys, finding my words, it was basically for me. I wasn't filling old shoe. I was recreating a new path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And see, and once I wrapped my head around it being that way, rather than fulfill the role, I was just protective that he gets the ability to put his 10 cents in.
You guys already have
pot,
72 tracks. So
Yeah,
but we're going to be writing some more.
Yeah, it was more one of those, and I got where Jeff was coming from. At the same time, it was one of those, I would have been fully on board with where you were coming from had we not fully agreed. Well, no, had we not fully agreed, there's very few components of these tracks that are off limits.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because so for me, because I came in the backside of it, it wasn't like you guys boxed me into something. You guys were open to the ideas that I brought to the table. I was able to create freely on the drum level, and then I was like, ooh, I like what I'm doing here. How about we change this to lift some more of this? And all the changes to it. So for me, it wasn't a rewrite. It was all fresh.
It was all fresh writing.
And that's,
I figured
they had to
it was
convince me that that's how it was going to be anyway.
And that's the way I wanted it to be when I was like, if we do
Proposing the
rewrites, this would be a good chance, because we already have.
But yeah, I was.
We already have the other instrumentation done,
to do the
and
thing,
having new drums put in over it would have been is just a great building exercise that we can automatically get into.
I approach the rewrites from the same as I did Clarity. Like, you guys have tracks out there. With the previous drummer, I listened to Clarity after I already had my ideas. I was like, where's he going? How much of this am I accidentally mimicking? Because there is
and there was chances, and that's why we sent the one to you of the original drums, but it wasn't for you to
it was to
study. It was more of a just as safety.
But the fun,
after you've written your stuff.
But the fun thing is we didn't only send him the one with the drums. We sent him one without the drums. Was what you
that's what I rehearsed.
Only used until after you had your part done.
So it was in my brain, and I was like, okay, let's see where I'm at. And there was a few things I'm like, ooh, I do and don't like this part or that part.
That's really close.
And I'm like, maybe I'll change mine a little bit.
Right. But yeah, it was less of a when we were sending, because we sent that out as that, like he pointed out, that was part of the audition package for anybody and everybody that was hitting us up and everything of this is a requirement because the song's already done. Yep. We're literally waiting on drums to be rewritten, re-recorded just to get the single out.
Yeah.
So this is definitely part of it. Are you going to be able to write with what style of stuff that we actually have?
So you guys had a framework of the EPs you wanted to release. We started getting into it. I think I had an epiphany where I'm like, when do you guys want to have these recorded? And you're like, by the end of December. I'm like, we're not going to get this done. We are. We got all these songs.
Well, no. This was supposed to be last year.
Oh,
yeah, we were supposed to be done with the recording process to release them.
Yeah.
Let alone writing, rewriting, cleaning, polishing, and then recording, and then giving it to Austin to touch up, finish up, and then release in 2023.
Yeah.
So that's
theoretically we were supposed to have all 4 of these done
by a year ago.
At the beginning of this year.
Plus throw in the tour that was in the midst of all this.
Yep.
Back last fall. So
so I mean there was a lot that was on the table.
When we drive, we hyperdrive.
Yeah. But I mean a big part of that also had to do with if we can get a lot of the busy work, if you will. The background busy work done, And off the plate, we can put more time into the promotion. We can put more time into the bookings. We can put more time into the things that we can't do anything about until it's close to the time to do it. Whereas in writing, recording, we can get all of that done well in advance and just sit on everything. Unlike literally every other recording we ever did, where it's like, cool, let's start writing 2 months before we're planning on hitting the studio.
Is that going to work?
And to quote a great movie, ludicrous speed now.
Yep. So, but yeah, giving everybody kind of context of what the next release is, we still have another one actually that we're planning on releasing after this one at the end of next year, but we will hold off on talking about that one until definitely later on. We don't want to give you all the information of everything going on at once. So
you gotta wait for that one.
So anyway,
Sorry,
just wanted to say thank you for coming to this one. We appreciate it, and we will catch you in the next episode.
Love you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
I love your guts.
Bye-bye. Have a good night now.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
I love your guts.
Thank you for listening to Actually Controller. If you liked what you heard, please consider following us on all our socials. You can easily find us on all the different platforms by going to linktree/controller33 or scan the QR code if you are watching the video version of this episode. Thank you.